over to this game here. Where'd it go? Okay. Chessfish versus Krysto. So we have about a 300-point rating advantage. But that doesn't mean black is going to lose this game. I don't know what's going to happen because I didn't look. It's fresh approach. Okay, French defense, perfectly good opening. Okay. This might be one of the better approaches. I learned back in 1972, it'll help you out, there's a book called The Complete Chess Player by Fred Reinfeldt. I had this book, and the beginning part of it was how to move the pieces, but near the end he had a chapter on all the several chapters on all the openings. He gave introductory lines, and the line he gave for this, black ended up with a center pawn majority. These pawns vanished, and these pawns vanished, but those center pawns just stormed up the board, and white got crushed. But my experience, with this opening is that might be the best line, so I'd avoided it. But as I learned more, that's what I learned in 1972. I was unrated. My first rating was 1465. But over the years, I discovered more and more. This might be the best e5 on that move. Might be the best choice. Okay, so black's attacking the pawn chain. One of the problems with this line for black is this bishop is a bad piece. Let's see how it goes. And I don't remember all the analysis. Oh no, we're on the queen. Okay. I thought we hung something. Okay, so game looks about even. White got rid of the bishop that was hindering his pawns. Black is still stuck with what they call the French bishop. But we'll call the game even. Now we got to watch b2. Or do we? No, we don't, because we'll pick up the knight. Okay, never mind. Now he decides he's going to keep it safe. Now black is probably trying to jettison this bad piece. Not yet. Now he does. So black actually gained a tempo there because white took 2 moves to capture here. So this game, so far, I would say black has held his own. Now, what do I notice here? What do you notice here? I'm stopping. Look at the clocks. Okay, now, maybe this was theory that both sides know. I don't know. I don't have this memorized. But I know, but they put themselves in a great position for the rest of the game because they now have plenty of time on their clock. Okay, they need to make 25 more moves to hit time control. I've talked about this before. 40 moves is the average length of a chess game, and most over the board tournaments, 40 moves the next number of minutes. You can tell it probably tell it move 40. Well, not probably. Let me state this definitively. You can tell at move 40 whether white should win, black should win, or the game should be a draw. Okay. That doesn't mean it will end that way, but you can tell what the likely result will be. Okay? So the goal is to get to move 40 using as much time you possibly can. So both sides are going to have to make 25 more moves. So they're going to get about an extra, we'll just call it 20 minutes each. So each one will have about 70 minutes on the clock to make 25 moves. That's almost 3 minutes a move, which is ideal if they'll take their time. If somebody loses this game, what I say, it's even. It still is. If somebody loses this game, it's because of this clock. Okay, so both sides are doing okay. Now, okay, good. Black is slowing down. So he knows he's playing with fire here. What do I mean by playing with fire? 328 rating point difference. Okay. Expected, but it does soften up this square a little bit. Black is getting counterplay on the queen side. Gives white a nice square. Okay, so we have a weakness. Backward pawn on the open file. It's protected, but it is a weakness. We have a weakness here. There's a weakness here for black's position. This knight can come in and clog things up. We have a protected passed pawn. White has all of his pieces pretty much pointed towards the black king. Right now, this knight is the only thing helping, although the queen is close. The rook might come over laterally. White has some attacking chances here. But black is slowed down and taking his time. Now he's trying to do this, and deliver a checkmate. So black has to be careful. So black decides he's going to go win a pawn. Ooh, this could get dangerous in a hurry. He's got a defense. The knight's protected. Okay, what do I mean by defense? Okay, this threatens mate. Black plays here, and white takes his queen and puts it on h6, right? Threatening mate, but black is able to run back. But white can pin that knight, and black can protect it. Let's see what happens. He deflects the queen. Now the queen no longer can get back here. Now we have an ouch. And black resigned. Wow. Okay, so black did a great job on the time, but he didn't calculate correctly. And neither did I. I looked at the obvious threat. So what did black do wrong here? What was wrong with his strategy? Was it the fact that, as I pointed out, that everything that black owned was over here on the queen side? Nothing was helping the king? Well, that certainly looks to be part of it. What else went wrong for black? Let's see. Okay, he took, and let's see, he brought the knight up here, and that allowed f6. Now he can't play g6 here because of queen h6, right? And now we can't get the queen back, right? So we have to look back at the moment white played f5. So I had a game back in 1973. It was against the French defense. It was a different variation where I actually captured what did I capture? My bishop took a knight on this square. So black got this pawn structure. Now, I just want to talk about this pawn structure. It does drop this pawn, but for what it's worth, it does give black an extra defender over here for the king. Now, what's white going to do? We don't know. Let's first try this pawn. Okay, but notice this pawn is not on the board anymore to go to f6. Okay. What else is happening here? This pawn is under attack. Black's pawn structure here seems to be okay. If white gangs up on h7, black has a knight which may come over to help out. If white kings up on g6, but it's going to take time to do that. I would think that black has moves like rook g6. It's one of the advantages of taking this pawn. Remember I talked about a lateral defense with the rook? So now white doesn't have to take on f5. He also has another choice. He can take here. Okay, that even gains a tempo. So we're analyzing and we're discussing. Now we might have to drop a pawn here. I don't know. Maybe but this is how we learn. We analyze. Now black is actually down a pawn. But I guess being down a pawn is better than being down a king, right? So let's see what kind of counterplay can black develop. I think his king is safe. If black can steal a pawn over on this side of the board, he's got adequate play. So if one of my friends is watching, he sent me a game to look at, and I've looked at it briefly. He was up a pawn in a game, and he couldn't win. One of the reasons he couldn't win was because it was a double rook and pawn ending, and those are hard to win. So in theory, if black can get down to a double rook ending, he has a chance to hold. Now, this is the natural break to play, creating threats down. We're threatening to steal our pawn back, right? Right? And if he takes this way, we can take one or the other, and the other one is weak. Now, white has the option to pin, right? We can pin that pawn. But look at this.
Check.
Here's a check to break the pin. Now, let's see. Let's change this slightly. Let's use the other rook. There's a reason for this.
Check.
I want to keep a rook on this pawn. Okay, now the queen needs to run away, right? Now we've lost the pawn. So my idea for counterplay didn't work. It did it with one rook, apparently. Let's verify that. If the other rook comes back to f4, we have this check.
Check.
And now we repeat. Okay, so apparently the... Oops, this is it. Let's see. So what was I doing? Pawn takes. Rook takes. I was correct. I'm bringing the knight here. I was taking this, and I was playing c4, which may be a mistake, right? We're determining that. And this move. Now, the check apparently is not good, but there's no rule that says we have to check, right? So we've got this active rook here. Let's try putting this rook here. Okay. Now the c4 pawn is still pinned, but at least we're not losing it. And now if white comes back and this way, we have this check again. And when the rook blocks, we can return the queen. So maybe we're onto something here for defense. This is a way that we we increase our awareness of chess. We analyze. Okay, we tear these positions to shreds. So white's a pawn up. Black is fighting. Okay. So takes. Now we don't have to play c4 yet. What if black says, you know what, white, I don't think you have enough to checkmate me yet. And I'm going to take f4 and d4 away from your rooks. And then I'm going to play c4. I'm also going to batten down the hatches on c5. Now, we can go for h6 or h7, right? I mean, if we have to, maybe at the very end we can come back. But let's now do white's plan. And we have a major problem here. See, I'm not good at one movers.
Checkmate.
Oopsie, but I was trying. Okay, so we got to go a different route here. Let's put the queen here. That still doesn't cover the back rank mate, but I'm trying to get on this square, right? Now let's go chase the queen. Now, if you want to take this, fine. Now, look at all these weak pawns. We can get one of them right now. My first impression is black is in the game here. And new check possibilities. This check is covered, right? There's no back rank mate here. So, we can't expect, everyone to find all this stuff. But let's see, how long did he last? He went for this right away. So he had the right idea, and I admire him and what he's up to. But the drawback was that he didn't stop this move, and this move proved to be too much. Now, instead of taking the pawn, which seems to lose, black needs to come up with another idea. And then I have to sneeze. Let's try this move. Okay. Why did I put it there? Well, first reason is I want the queen to come back here if she needs to. That's the first reason. The second reason is this knight is on a great square. Okay? So let's take this a step further. I've got comments here. Oh, thanks. Well, thank you for subscribing. Well, why did he resign? What if he just moved up the pawn? Well, he's going to get mated. We'll cover that. I'll cover that at the very end. Bear with me. I thought I did cover it. If I missed a mate, well, I'll analyze some more. But here, this knight on e4 also stops the queen from coming here and coming here. And at the same time, black is not a pawn down. So this was another way to play this. Now here's one thing. If white takes this, one defense is we treat this pawn as if it was one of our own, if that was a black pawn. Well, it isn't, and it does take some squares away from our king, but the trick is we're going to hide behind it, and we're not going to take it until we're ready to centralize our king in the ending. So that's another strategy here. But it looks to me in this position, black is okay. White can maybe try to use the C file. Let's try this. His idea is come down here to the 7th rank and then double rooks. So say black backs up. Well, let's just try to double rooks. Okay. And, it's still a fight. I could analyze this more, but I'm not. Now I just think it's kind of useless. But why did he resign? You say if he pushes his pawn in front of the king, how does black stop checkmate here? See, one of the defenses I'd given earlier was the queen was coming back, but the queen got drawn away to b3. Okay, so there's one other possibility here. Let's back this up. An attempted defense. Let's see. The idea is to get the king here and the rook here to stop the queen. But unfortunately, I think this check just comes in and you have to come back. But let's suppose it doesn't come in. I want to show you a theme. Okay, rook here. Now white has a new mate threat. So black says, well, I'm going to get my, you want to play here and here, right? So black says, well, I'll fix that. I'll just come back with my knight. And well, it's not so easy. After the knight comes back here, we just take this.
Checkmate.
And black has been defeated. Okay, so well played, Krysto. You had a really good game here, and I don't think you were losing at all. If you play knight e4, you're doing fine. Or if you try my approach and take this pawn, I think you're doing fine. So it was a great game. All right, let's get rid of that game, and I'll start a new one. Let me stop the recording.